Welcome to episode 42 of TerrorVision Horror Podcast. 42? Mm-hmm. The answer to the universe.
Uh-huh.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'm one of your hosts, Dan McGuinness, and joining me on the Midnight Meat Train is my co-host, Jennifer, the Dream Warrior Strand.
Toot toot.
Every week, I can't not laugh.
You can't not laugh.
Every week, we take one horror movie, then cut it to pieces with our gnarly, sharp internet words.
Yeah.
Together, we are two people with a love of horror, and we feel the burn of our obsolete Blockbuster/Movieland membership cards, which are useless now. Mm-hmm. I'd just like to thank all of our listeners who support us over on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Castbox, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, and the YouTube. We love you. Thank you very much. And, you know, if you love what you hear, please go over there. Give us a thumbs up, a star, a review. It helps us more than you can imagine. Mm-hmm. Now, straight into our fun facts about ourselves. My fun fact for the week is that I have, within my lifetime, I have owned 2 skateboard companies.
That is very interesting. So I know that you owned Miasma.
Miasma, yeah.
And what's the other one?
In the late 90s, I owned one called Stolen Skateboards, which the name of it was stolen from my neighbor owned a Porsche and his number plate was stolen. He was actually Greg Hicks, the guy who owned Adam Internet.
Oh my God.
And I stole his the name of my skateboard coming from the number plate of his Porsche.
Oh, well.
And so that went for a while. We didn't know what we were doing. We were kids. We had a small team. It was really good. And then the company ended when we did a whole giant big batch of skateboards, and then they all delamed and they delaminated, as in they came apart. And the company, that is one thing you can actually go to a skateboard company and go like, my board's delamed, you have to give me a new one. And the company just went no, because it was a small Australian company, and they're like, we can't afford that. So they just like no, and that just ended our company because we had all of our stock was dead, and we couldn't sell it, and that was the end basically.
Oh my Lord.
Okay. And then the latest one, Miasma, I just floated away from that one eventually and just sold it off and still going to this day apparently.
Well, that's cool. Yes, I've seen many of your designs for Miasma. They're very interesting and fun.
Yeah, they're very dick orientated.
Yeah, very dick orientated.
Hide a dick and everything. Yeah. That's the rule of skateboarding. What is your fact, Jen?
Okay. So the first film, I was thinking about this the other day, the first film that ever truly terrified me was The War of the Worlds.
The OG one with the floating ones?
Yes. Yep. Yeah, that one. And I would have been about 4 or 5. So I remember this is one of those memories that I have as a child. So it was obviously it had some kind of an effect on me, but I have a feeling it was one of those films that, it's the first time you actually get to witness people dying, because at that point, you're such a young age, you don't see people dying, let alone dying by beings from another planet. Was
it the bit where, that scared you the most is that arm? There's, the bit where they're in the building and there's that green kind of arm with the suction cups on the end of it?
No, that's not even that. It was the phases shooting down and then people just, dissipating.
Vumping?
Yeah.
Ooh. What's my first film that kind of terrified me was Raiders of the Lost... No, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, but it was only the bit where the guy pulled the guy's heart out. That guy, I had to look away every time. It might have even been in Raiders of the Lost Ark when the Nazis melted. I think I looked away, even though that was totally my jam, both those things.
Yeah.
But I've always said, you usually get obsessed with the stuff that scares you. And
it's true.
So I reckon that's why I liked all the gore and special effects, because I'm like, how is this giving me such hard emotions?
Yes, because I remember Last Crusade where he chews poorly, and then he just immediately starts to decompose, and then he becomes the Crypt Keeper for a split second.
Yeah, he does.
That's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was the stop motion, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, that was sick.
Amazing. And then we just went from there, I guess. Just a roller coaster ride of trying to scare myself and make myself feel shit for the rest of my life.
Yeah. I've never really been one into alien and sci-fi stuff, but it's only been in the last 10 to 20 years that I've really gotten back into it hard.
I loved aliens as a kid. In year 5, I remember drawing the life cycle of an alien, as in the circle of the alien, then implants on the face hugger, then the chest burster, and the full circle of life.
Beautiful.
The circle of life.
Xenomorphs are that's different.
Yeah.
It's xenomorphs.
They're the
cool.
best.
They're cool.
Okay, so let's move straight on to our spoiler cast. Yes, every week, Jennifer and I set ourselves a horror movie to watch, and then we go through it scene by scene, scene by scene, spoiling the fuck out of it. I thought I could get through today without fucking up, but I can't.
That's fine.
It's a deep dive into glorious gore, hard edits, cheesy acting, directing madness, severed wangs, and compound fractures. We have so we watch it. And we have a rating system. So you know you're not just left at the end going, I don't understand how good the film was.
Well, for those of you playing at home, our rating system goes a little something like this. We have the A, which is awesome, everybody should watch. The B, beer and chicken wing group movie. F is for fun and dumb. C is a classic that's worth a watch. U is underrated. G, good for its time but is not held up. We've got the J, Jen special. The D, Dan special. The W, which is whatever, so off my radar. We've got the Kesha, the low budget hot mess, and the cream of the crap, the tip of the top, the McConaughey.
The tip of the top?
The tip of the top.
The bread.
The bread, yes. Which is really bad for you because it's high in sugar and carbs and whatnot. So there you go.
Bread makes you fat. Scott Pilgrim.
So yeah, it's the fucking fucked.
So this week we watched, as per request of moi, this was my pick, The Monster Squad from 1987. Now this is officially a kids film.
This is a kids film, but this is also one of those, like, if someone were to release this film today doing what they're doing, they'd be like, no, this is not a children's film.
Yeah, there would be some like doots and duts. What are its vital statistics, Jen?
All right, so director Fred Decker, who we know as the director of Night of the Creeps, which we did enjoy.
Yeah, and they both kind of have that like kind of funny vibe to them.
Screenplay by Shane Black and also Fred Decker. Stars Andre Gower, Robbie Kiger, Stephen Mack.
Who? Exactly.
And a lovely little cameo from John Grice, who we know as the rock and roll guy from TerrorVision.
Yeah, weird.
And many other things. Now, Dan, this film had a budget of $12 million, and its box office was $3.8 million.
Such a fail.
This is a hard fail.
It's obvious. No parents would have let their kids go see this film.
Yeah, probably not. Well, a lot of so Goonies was released in 1985. And then when this was released in 1987, a lot of people were like, this is just a Goonies ripoff. We don't want to watch it.
But it's not.
Not
at all.
The Goonies isn't even that good. Just throwing that out there now.
Well, they waste a bit of their money with Liam Neeson.
Yeah, so Liam Neeson was paid for a bit part that he never shot. I'm going to say that they used $10 million for the movie and $2 million for him. And then, there you go. And then another fun fact is the Wolfman's face was modelled after Stan Winston. Who, Stan Winston, creature effects, design galore, absolutely amazing guru in special effects.
So they just based it on his face?
Yeah, they did.
Really?
And if you look at it hard enough, you're like, yeah, I can see that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the Winston Company obviously did all the special effects for this film, which is fantastic.
Whatever it's at, what's its synopsis and tagline?
I didn't even put that in because I'm a fucking dickhead. Hang on.
Oh, yeah, that's the old one. Don't worry about it.
Don't even worry about it. It's
Whoops.
Monster Squad.
Yeah, so, all right, let's just get straight into it.
Done.
Let's just go. Let's get this fruitcake out of the factory.
All right. So we start with a lovely little line. So 100 years before the story begins, it was a time of darkness in Transylvania, a time when Dr. Abraham Van Helsing, a small band of freedom fighters, conspired to rid the world of vampires and monsters and to save mankind from the forces of eternal evil. They blew it.
They blew it. I like that bit, like, ... They blew it.
That's good. I like that.
That sets the tone of the whole film. That
it does.
They blew it.
Yeah.
It's so serious. And this is like this just comes up on a black screen in white writing. No one voiceovers it, which I found really weird. That could have been
Liam Neeson.
Oh, it could have been. I reckon it might have been. Maybe they just forgot to put it in there.
Maybe.
Anyhow, the title of the film comes up. Basically, we hard cut to like a cemetery. Mm-hmm. We've got like a statue of the Grim Reaper in a cemetery. It's like night and like
wolves.
And the title of the film, Monster Squad comes up over that. And then we basically just get the credits of the film just shot over like kind of a montage of the cemetery.
Yep. You get this wolf howling in the distance and whatnot. It's not too bad.
We fade to like this. And then we just kind of fade to this crypt. And then we realise that this might not be in modern times anymore.
Oh.
There's some skeletons. It's this underground crypt, which is so, strangely lit for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
One candle is lighting the whole room.
So you've got your tombs and your skulls off in the back, some coffins. One of the coffins starts to open and you see these elongated fingers coming out,
coffin.
followed by a few spiders, which is also really cool.
Yeah. Those stock standard spiders that they use in films, like in Indiana Jones, that's on the guy's back, like those. I assume that it's tarantulas.
Yeah.
But not massive ones, but maybe they are massive and they just don't look big on film because they're spiders.
Maybe.
Coffins. There's bats all over the ceiling. We see, which is a very cool shot. There was all their eyes.
Yeah.
It showed their eyes first, that were put in afterwards in effect, like red eyes, and then lightning comes and stays on. I don't know how that worked.
Yeah.
But then we see one giant king bat in between all the minion bats.
Yes, it falls from the roof. This is really cool looking bat as well. We get this really good so it's kind of animatronic puppetry kind of
it's
deal.
Clearly a gigantic animatronic Batman.
Yeah. And it drops from the roof and transforms into Dracula.
A stereotypical transformation as well, one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just turns into the most stereotypical Dracula you've ever seen. The most... Oh, my God. So these are the Universal monsters, is that right? As in,
So, yes, they are the Universal monsters, essentially. However, based on licensing issues, so Universal...
He's like Dracula?
Oh, my God, Count Dracula, the best. Obviously, Dracula Frankenstein, they're completely different because they were books before, so Universal doesn't quite hold the rights.
Oh.
However, other certain characters like
Creature.
the Creature looks completely different and is... I think credited as Gilman.
Gilman. Oh, no.
So, yes, they are basically... Dracula looks like Bela Lugosi's Dracula.
Can I put it right now? I'm just going to lightly mention how ridiculous this Dracula character was throughout the whole film, doing things that didn't make any sense.
No, that's fine.
We'll just get into that later.
You can mention that. That's great.
All right, so we got Dracula. He's on the scene. He's dressed like Dracula.
Yeah.
He has the
white shirt.
A cravat.
Yeah.
A
cravat. He's got a cape. His hair's slicked back.
Yeah, the inside of his cape is red satin. Mm-hmm. He's the most stereotypical costume shop vampire you've ever seen. I'm down.
And we get this really good shot of him standing there with this crypt surrounding him and all of the bats, which are all just on strings.
Yep.
And that makes me so happy.
Yeah, flying around on strings.
Yeah.
So they're flying, but they're not moving around. They're just levitating.
But they still have their little
Yeah, no, it's not. Then we cut to hard cut outside of the castle now. We see the townsfolk. They're like, fuck this shit. Let's get our pitchforks. Let's get our flaming torches. Let's get our mob mentality.
Yep.
And we're going to go down and get rid of this neighbour, where this low socioeconomic family that's moved into our village of the Draculas. Actually, it could be the other way around, I reckon.
I'd say so, yeah.
I think they're people against gentrification.
Yeah.
They were like, this is a rich vampire coming into our small town. He's going to gentrify it. We're going to have to move out.
This isn't okay. But also, this isn't their first rodeo.
No.
This is not the first time that they have mobbed someone out of town because they have dynamite.
That is true. There is a lot of dynamite in this film. Mm-hmm. And I remember in the 80s, dynamite was cool.
Yeah, well, Looney Tunes.
It was before suicide bombers and bomb culture. Dynamite was yeah. Then there's actually later on, there's one of those box handle things that you pulled out.
Oh, so good.
They're heading towards the castle. They get some dynamite. They blow up Dracula's front door.
Yep. Bam.
We're like, what? What's going on?
He doesn't have a lot of security, clearly, on his
he does. He has the Brides of Dracula. Are they the brides? Is that what you call them?
That's what I called them. I'm pretty certain that there is a name for them, but yeah. So there's generally 3 of them, but there's one woman. She's beautiful. She's in a white gown. She's eating an opossum. She's just feasting on something. So she's got blood dripping everywhere, and she kind of sees them and just, the typical, the vampire.
Does a cat hiss at them?
Yeah.
So they have to, so then out of the blue, it's Helsing.
Yep.
So it's Van Helsing. He's leading the mob pack. He's like, get out of our town, you richos.
Immediately shoots her in the chest with a wooden stake.
Yeah,
as well.
he has like a crossbow that shoots at stakes. Sure, why not? It doesn't work in real life, but fine. She's dead.
Done.
Catch you around, lady.
We see this gem, this beautiful like purple gem sort of radiating this.
Which this gem could not
Sparks
decide
of
what
light.
kind of gem it was throughout the film. Did you notice that?
Yeah, it changed colours. It's fine. And they're like, oh shit, we've got the. Oh,
It's actually an
3 minutes.
amulet.
It is an amulet. Yes.
So we see the amulet. It's flashing. They have like I think they've like shone a laser through the back of it, and it's like emanating these like laser bits out and all different. It looks kind of cool. I like that.
Yeah, it's a cool laser show. It's fine.
It's glowing.
They scream that they've got 3 minutes.
They got 3 minutes. Bring in the babe.
Bring in the girl. So this girl comes in and she
she's like a ragged peasant girl.
Yeah.
She's quite young, and they bring her in, and she starts reading from some old scroll in a different language, some some ritual or some shit, and we're all like, "Ooh, what's going on?"
Yep. And at this point, shit starts to get hectic. Floor starts quaking. Skulls start rising from their grave.
Zombies start coming up and stuff. Skeletons. Big weather comes.
Big weather does come rolling in.
Yeah, buddy. Pumpkinhead rocks in from out the back.
He's always just around the corner. And then this vortex opens.
And this vortex / portal is exactly the same one from Evil Dead.
Yes, it is.
It's basically, I'm pretty sure she just read from the Necronomicon. That's a hard, either homage or rip-off. So this is the exact same. I've just imagined the one from Evil Dead 2 that sucks ash in. It's like, it starts sucking shit in. Instantly, the girl gets sucked into the portal.
Yep.
Like, oh, shit.
Oh,
That's a bad run for her. Some randos, some villagers.
Yeah, some mobsters. They're like, oh, well, I signed up for this. This is...
And they're flying when they're like, sell my Make America Great Again hat that I love it. They're going in.
Everyone's in. I do believe at this point Van Helsing gets sucked in. No, he's left behind.
No, Helsing starts fighting a zombie. So this zombie skeleton, which is just a puppet, springs up to life, grabs him, and he's kind of wrestling like this inanimate corpse on the ground.
That's fine.
And it's kind of like, and then he's like trying not to get sucked into the portal, and then it's just a hard cut.
Yeah.
You just don't know what happened, and then it's just like done.
Yeah.
What happened? Right. And that's our hard opener. Is that what they're called?
Hard open.
Hard open.
Cold open.
Hard cut.
Yeah.
Title. Present day. So that's 2021.
School's out. School's been cut out. We're on a school and everyone's kind of leaving for the day.
Can I just add, this movie's only been gone for 6 minutes.
Yes.
All this has happened in the first 6 minutes.
This movie moves. It moves along quickly.
Man, does it move. And plus it didn't have the title credits. They don't want to waste time with that shit.
They didn't want... I can't remember who distributed it, but they also didn't want a film that was over 90 minutes.
That's fair enough for kids' films. We're cut to a school. High school, primary school, can't tell. The kids, it's after school. The kids are all pouring out. It's the fucking 80s. Mm-hmm. We're like, let's go down and get some bubble gum. My mom told me not to eat bubble gum. That doesn't happen.
Back when you could get like a bag of lollies for 5 cents.
Oh, yeah. Bloody hell. We used to get 1 cent choc buds set out, which were carob. I could have mentioned that on the show before. It stuck with me forever.
No, that's the thing. It was a simpler time.
So we cut to 2 kids that are in the principal's office after school. They're obviously naughty kids. Mm-hmm. One of them, Shawn, the main character, has a Stephen King Rules top, which you have actually given me as a homage top, but I have the Tom Atkins Rules top, which I think is from... Do you reckon it's a homage from this film?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, cool.
Because we both have that shirt. We've never been in the same room wearing it at the same time.
I tried to find it this morning, but then I chose to stick with my Monster Squad t-shirt, which what are you wearing?
I have The Shining today.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't have a Monster Squad t-shirt. I'm just not that cool.
Dead to me.
Sorry.
Okay, so we cut to these 2 kids. We have Patrick and Shawn. So Shawn is the main character. He is like kind of the every kid, the cool kid that every kid wants to be.
Yeah.
Then we have Patrick, who is like the cooler kid, who's kind of like into skateboarding and wears like the big loud shirts and has like the spiky hair. The cool friend.
Yeah.
Who, is the ladies' man. They're in the principal's office. They're getting in trouble. They have been drawing pictures.
Oh.
And I like the, the principal's like, you got your kids, like, you've been drawing in school. What is this? And he holds up a picture of a spider with a lady's head. And like the kid's just like, spider with human head?
It's a bit derivative of human with spider head, but okay.
And like, yeah, this is a bit where we find out that Shawn and Patrick, they're totally into monsters. They're just into monsters.
Yeah, they have a monster club, which is pretty cool.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, and that's kind of it. And he's just like, you shouldn't be drawing in class. Monsters aren't real. You're a dickhead. Leave.
Yeah, he has this like bit of a speech. He's like, I was young once too, and I also liked monsters, but then I grew up and realized that science was the way to go. Now get out.
Yeah, science. All right, so then the kids leave and they're just laughing. They're walking down the halls like, what a dickhead. And then they come across the teacher who'd like given them attention. And they basically just pay her out and do some horrible, cruel comments about it and just keep walking on, basically. Yeah. What horrible kids. Anyhow, hard cut to a new character. We're introduced to Fat Kid Horace.
Yes.
His name is Fat Kid in this film, which I find a bit weird.
It is weird.
He's in the schoolyard. He's eating a Snickers. He's walking along minding his own business.
He's living his best life.
Yeah, and suddenly he gets pushed, and it's two bullies. One of the bullies is the brother from the Wonder Years. Yes. Everyone knows that actor. All he plays is bullies.
Yeah.
He's in so many things as the bully or the dickhead. I think he's in Tremors as the dickhead as well.
Really?
Yeah, he's the dickhead kid. He's the poor kid in Tremors who is the only kid in town, but he's a dickhead to everyone. Yeah. But yeah, that kid, man. He's got the best squeal voice. Like he uses it in heaps of stuff. Yeah. As in when he goes, he uses it in this actually.
They do. So they start bullying Fat Kid, and they're calling him a faggot, and
not cool.
No, it's not cool.
It is the 80s though. The word fag and faggot was thrown around a lot as comedy, it's even in Bill and Ted and stuff like that, but still unacceptable these days, and I do not condone it. But
neither do I.
This is a PG movie as well. Could you imagine a PG movie these days dropping the faggot bomb?
No.
I don't know what to call it. I feel like a weirdo even saying it, eh?
I know, it is weird. No, I don't think of any film that would be G or PG that would use that.
I don't think even any film uses it anymore because everyone's like, that's just not cool. It's just it's just, grabbing a whole, we don't like it.
Yeah.
Anyhow, they knock his Snickers out of his hand and they stomp on it. They're like dickhead.
It's a Snickers. Fuck off.
Yeah.
And then he rips his comic book up and just kind of throws it at him. This kid's having a real rough day. So of course, Fat Kid, he's upset. His comic's ripped. His Snickers is on the floor. It's been trampled, and he calls the bully an asshole because he is
under his breath kind of vibe.
Yeah. And of course, they fight.
They're like, "Would you say, Fat Kid?"
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not really a fight. Like the bully,
no, it's like a tussle. It's your standard
bully jumps on top
fight.
of him and starts slapping him kind of in the face and shit. Anyhow, not a hard cut.
In rocks up a kid. He comes in with a full
BMX bike, skid in.
Yes, which is super cool. And he gets off his bike. He's got some jeans.
No, he doesn't even get off his bike. First, he puts his leg up.
Yeah,
gets a match, lights it on the bottom of his shoe, lights his cigarette, and we're introduced to Rudy. He is like a greaser. He has a leather jacket, the tight black jeans. He smokes. Yep. He's got a BMX, probably a Haro back in those days.
He's essentially the coolest kid in town.
Might even be a mongoose. That's what the cool kid... He is cool. He is a bit older than everyone. But nicely enough, he's friends with... He goes like, what are you doing to my friend Horace?
Yeah.
And the other bully realizes he's dealing with an uber bully.
He's like, oh, I gone done fucked up.
Yeah, and he's like,
He's like, nothing. We was just playing. We're just hanging out. So I don't know what you're talking about. And of course, Rudy's still sitting on his bike, having his little cigarette. He's like, well, you know what to do.
He says something along like, he's like, I can't work out how he gets to this point, but it makes sense in the dialogue. He's just like, you dropped your Snickers.
Yeah.
That's it. And he goes like, pick it up and finish it. And this is where the kid's voice breaks. He's like, Rudy.
I don't want to.
Yeah. And then he goes, pick it up and eat it. He's like the baddest of badass kids.
Yeah.
And then I actually really instantly liked this character. As soon as he was in it, I was like, I like a cool... There's so much oozing cool in this film of when you're a kid, you have a choice in this film to be whatever cool kid that you want to be. There's the normal cool kid. There's the 80s skateboard cool kid. There's the greaser cool kid. And now the bully picks it up and bites into the Snickers, and because there's a crowd around the other kids, we're like,
So everyone's like, ugh.
and then it cuts to Horace just looking triumphant, like nodding, going,
Yeah.
"That's what you get, cunt. You fuck with the Horace, you get the horns."
Which is really so strange because when he stamps on the Snickers, it's still in its wrapper. So realistically, there is nothing
No,
wrong.
the end of it was out on the
Yeah.
ground. He stomped on that. Anyhow, it's you know, it's the notch that kid's been knocked down within the schoolyard bullyism.
Yep.
Which isn't going to solve anything. He's just going to go and bully someone even harder now
Yeah,
because that's
yeah.
just how it works. Like,
Someone's getting swirly.
you always pass down the bullyism. So he's probably, dad's at home, like, smashing bottles into his face and raping him every night.
Fucking hell. Okay.
Who knows? We
That
don't know. We don't
escalated
know
so
where this
quickly.
bully stems from. Anyhow, next. Is that the right word? Probably.
Yeah.
Next, we cut to Shawn and Patrick and Phoebe walking down the street, and and Phoebe is Shawn's real little sister. She's 5. They
She's
mentioned.
adorable.
Yeah, little sister. She's like, "Hey guys," she's kind of just following them home from
Yeah.
school. Like
Yeah.
they're not talking to her; they're just talking to each other.
So they're talking about Wolfman. They're having a bit of a conversation. They're like, what with the possibility of him being able to drive? Like, would he be able to drive a car? Would he be wearing pants? Why wouldn't he be wearing
No,
pants?
they're both like, goes like, "Wolfman can't drive." He goes, "Dude, he can drive. He wears pants." that was his reason. So these dudes are so deep into monsters. All they talk about is monsters. So we get that. And they're fully into the lore and the rules of monsters. Mm-hmm. And he goes like, then there's a bit where like, "Why would Wolfman wear pants?" And he goes like, "So you don't see his wolf dork."
Yeah.
Wolf dork? We
Sure.
never in Australia use the word dork as being a dick, which is what it is, I think. And a dork is like a camel's dick or something?
Possibly?
Or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
Anyway.
But we use dork as being a nerd here, but
Yeah.
they use it as a wang.
Yeah.
Anyhow, there's dorkism.
Yep. So they pass this neighborhood because every neighborhood has a creep house.
Scary house.
Yep, scary house in the neighborhood, and they talk about the scary German man that lives in that house.
This actor was great.
I didn't get that.
Oh.
Blood. Shut up, Siri.
So yeah, they talk about him, and they're basically talking about World War II and him being part of that, and this, that, and the other. So we get this setup of just this creepy German man that lives in this creepy,
and kind of
creepy
like
house.
they walk off, but still like the little Phoebe's looking still at the house and sees the windows move a bit, and she runs off.
Yeah.
Anyhow, we cut to Horace rocks up
Yep.
to the gang in the street, and he's with Rudy.
Yes.
And Horace is like, "Dude, check out my friend Rudy.
Yeah.
He should totally join our club." Like
Yes.
he's fully, and this is about like, why would he care? But he does care.
Yeah, he
kind of
does.
in a way. He's a loner.
He just wants some friends too. Being a
Yeah.
greaser is it's lonely work.
And they'll look at him and should we let him in? And they're always like, monster test.
Monster test.
So he has
oh
to
yes.
go through the monster test. Anyhow, hard cut, end of scene, new scene. We cut to a cargo plane flying through the world. Well, we cut to a model of a plane going.
It's a Browning plane.
Ooh.
Thus named because of the gentleman that wrote Dracula.
Oh, really?
Yep.
That's a gen
We've
fact.
got some little homages throughout this film to the Universal Monsters. There's 2 pilots and they're complaining about the job and they're like, "Oh, fucking just having to fly things and do."
They're giving
pilot
them a bit of
things."
texture. These characters, you
Yeah.
know, they're not just like dummies that fly a plane. They've got
No.
beards.
Yeah,
They've
they've got personalities. They
they've-
also complain about their jobs.
They've probably been in like an 80s orgy, key swap.
100%.
I know, just like that vibe you get from them.
Yeah.
They think they're cool because they've sexed.
Yep.
Anyhow, they hear a noise from out the back of the car. And at first they're complaining like, "Oh man, it's a bit weird taking these coffins
Yeah.
or these
Oh.
crates and coffins or whatever." And they hear a noise and one of them's like, you go look. Okay,
Yeah, it's like,
okay,
I'm
I'll
just
go
going to
look."
go have a look and I'll be right back.
And then, so he's walking around. We see there's a box, there's a crate in there. There's actually a bunch of crates, but it only shows one, apparently. And there's a coffin. Is Dracula's coffin in there?
I think so.
Or did he just appear in there?
So.
Anyhow, a bat flies past him and he ducks his bat. And he's just like, he doesn't even go, "Oh, why is there a bat in here?"
Yeah, no, doesn't even question it. He's probably seen worse. As he stands up, Dracula just standing right behind him.
Yeah. Or he's kind of looking at the crates. And
Yeah.
we see that one of the crates in the torchlight says Frankenstein on it. And you're like, uh-oh. Anyhow.
So, yeah, he's stands up. Drax behind him. He punches him in the face.
He just slugs him.
And the pilot falls back and he's just like, he's looking pretty freaky. Now, Drax standing there with the coffin. And, of course, the guy, he's got this...
And the crate.
Yeah. He's got this lever right next to him and he's just like, pull the lever.
The pilot, but he pulls the lever and there's a trap door in the plane. I don't know why a train...
Convenient.
Plane would... Anyhow, the boxes and the coffin and everything falls out, but Dracula stays there floating with his arms crossed like, look how sick I am. I don't know why he just didn't leave because he had to leave anyway.
Yeah, well, I think, it's just part of the scare. Like, now I'm going to make you shit your pants before I leave. And he hovers there momentarily before turning into a bat and fucking off.
He turns into a bat, flies down.
He's down.
We see the two boxes now kind of smashed down into a swampy kind of area or a marsh or a man-made
or a
duct.
lagoon
even or some shit. Who knows?
Maybe some kind of black lagoon.
Wasn't black.
Shut up.
Anyhow, they fall into a swamp.
Yeah.
And then we have a hard cut, what we can only assume is quite near that, because it's the same side of terrain, to what could be the coolest treehouse that's ever been conceived.
But, yes.
It's like a treehouse, and then it has a built-on bit to it, with an extra bit. And it's wicked.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and it's real as well. It wasn't like a model. And I'm like, man. And I'm like, I looked at it, I'm like, I'm going to build a tree house for my kids like that in my new trees that I've got.
Nice. And it's so cool. The decoration is really cool as well.
Yeah.
So it's like full of horror movie posters, monster posters. They've got all these cool toys, Godzilla stuff.
It's exactly what a tree house should be.
Yes.
You know when you get cubby houses here? You can buy those cubby houses, those pre-made cubby houses or whatever.
Yep.
They never get used.
No.
Kids don't hang out in them because they're not in a tree.
Well,
and that's the thing. You want to get away from the parents. You want to be away kind of thing. And that's the kind of thing. And they've made it their own. They've filled it with imagine how many spiders would be in there though, in Australian ones. So maybe it won't work.
It will work. You just insulate it kind of okay.
And the whole gang's in there. We got Rudy. He's hanging up on there's this higher bit. He's looking out. He's got some binoculars. He's looking through the binoculars out, and we see that he is looking at a young girl in the next house over that's changing. Mm-hmm. She's getting her jubblies out. We don't see the jubblies. She's
no. This is a children's film, so she's in her underwear.
And he's like, "Whoa!" He says to himself, "I got to get in this gang."
Yeah,
this club. It's not very cool. That's kind of that's telling kids. PG-13 film that it's okay to spy on people and watch them change.
Yes, I think.
Then again, in the Goonies, the older girl fully passes this severely young kid.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that because these are made by men, and men just didn't know what limits were back in the 80s. You know?
No, not at all. But yeah, I mean, and then so they start talking. They're giving Rudy the rundown, trivia.
No, they give him the monster test.
Yeah.
But which basically is just for the audience to know how to kill all individual monsters. They're how do you kill a werewolf? And silver bullets.
It's wrong. There's two. He's like, well, what's the other way? And
they're I don't know.
I don't.
Yeah, they say all this weird stuff, old age.
Yeah.
And it goes through a whole bunch of things to show that that's their thing. And for the audience, so we know how to kill some monsters.
Yeah. Oh, good to know for later on, maybe.
There's also another kid in this. Eugene is in the club, which is a new character. We haven't seen him. He's quite younger than everyone else. He's probably Phoebe's age.
Yeah, just a little bit older. We're not actually ever really introduced to him as
No,
the
he's
character.
just there from now on.
With
He's
his beagle.
Yeah, he has a beagle named Pete.
Yep.
He's just in the club as well.
Yeah.
Because he's a boy.
Yep.
And this is a boys' club.
It's a He-Man woman haters club.
Yeah. It's what are those people that complain that they don't get sex? That's women.
Oh, the incels?
Incel, yeah. It's basically the birth of that club. Now, I think maybe Phoebe comes in.
Yeah, Phoebe pops her head up and she's like, I want to join too. Can I play too? Why can't I play? Mum says that I have to play, otherwise it's
But the trap door, she lifts up, she says no girls on it. And I'm like, well, how are these dudes ever going to get sexy times if no girls are allowed in a cubby house, a tree house?
So, Shawn's like, you got to go. You can't, you're not cool enough. You're not a boy. You don't have a wang. You can't play.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm going to tell Mum.
He doesn't care.
No. Anyhow. Meanwhile, Mum calls out for dinner and Shawn's like, oh, fuck, got to go.
See you guys.
He bails out.
Hey, I'm pretty sure that everyone just stays in the this clubhouse isn't just primarily. It's like in between. It's at the back of all their houses.
Yeah.
And you assume they all live in this, like, you know, all neighbours to each other. So this treehouse is like a joint treehouse.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
Yeah.
We're going inside. Sean's mum's there. She's like...
So yeah, she's like, oh, by the way, like I found a book for you at a garage sale.
Yeah.
And she hands him a book, and you know he's so excited. He's like, oh, the Van Helsing book. Yeah, I really wanted this book.
It's like the Van Helsing's diary.
Yeah.
Or some shit.
And he opens it up and he's like, oh, it's in German. Oh no. But she immediately does the full mum thing, and she's like, oh, Van Helsing, like he's the one that fights Godzilla, right? Classic mum.
And she's like, no, mum, that's. He goes, oh, she goes, he hides money power. Which one's the big guy?
Yeah.
That's Godzilla. And then we cut to Dracula.
Yep.
He's suddenly driving a Dracula mobile.
He's got a really cool kind of hearse.
Hearse with a skull as a hood ornament. I'm like, where do you get this from?
Yep. And
so this is the start of Dracula not making sense.
Yes.
Number 2, he has his giant car. And then...
he's brought the big weather too.
Yeah, he's bringing big weather.
So Dracula brings big weather.
And he says something like, let it begin.
Yes, let it begin.
Like, what?
What is happening, Dracula? You haven't told us a thing.
Yeah, and
we cut back to Shawn. Shawn's gone upstairs to wash up for dinner, and he comes into his parents' room, finds his dad shaving.
Yep, who is a real familiar actor to me. I've seen him in... maybe it's just this film. I've seen him in heaps of times.
Okay. Shawn's like, oh, look, Dad, can I have $5? I really want to go see this movie with my friends tonight. And Dad's like, nah, your mum and I are going out tonight, so you have to babysit.
Yeah, we're going out for a dinner.
So they have a bit of a brouhaha, father-son argument. Like, but Dad, I really want to go with my friends. I don't want to sit at home and babysit. And it's like, where are you guys going anyway? They're off to marriage counselling because clearly...
Oh, were they?
Yeah.
I thought they were going to dinner.
No. They're off to marriage.
I knew the marriage on the rocks.
Yeah,
but
they've got some problems.
Anyhow, the dad, like, you know, he's supposed to be going to marriage counselling. He gets a call from the station. And they're like, dude, you got to come down here.
He's like, the cop's on the phone to him. He's like, meanwhile, there's a guy in the background. He's screaming blood. He's like, lock me up. I'm a werewolf. Like, fuck you. Like, I'm going to do some damage. And the cop's just like, yeah, you better get down here.
I don't know why he needed to go down there, eh?
No, he really didn't. Like, what was he going to do?
Especially because the dad is a detective.
Yeah, but...
Like, he's not the chief.
It's literally a whole police station full of cops, and none of them could handle this situation?
Anyhow, he gets his jacket on. The mum sees him, like, leaving. Like, aren't we going to marriage counselling? And he's like, you know, I'm married. You know who I was when you married me. And then clearly this is the problem. Yeah. Anyhow, he doesn't do himself any favours. He leaves.
He leaves. Yeah.
Then we cut to the police station again.
Yeah. So the cops are wrestling the werewolf guy, which is John Grice. And, you know, they like slam him down on a desk, and he looks up out the window to see the full moon.
He's like, lock me up! He
just starts going insane.
He gets his, like, energy boost. He takes his roids and he starts throwing cops around.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, I think one of the cops shoots him a couple of times.
Shoots him, juice, bang, dead. I think it's the end of the cut. It's like a hard cut out.
Yeah. Hard cut to now we are in a museum, and
so this is what he really got called out to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. So the two cops are standing there. They're talking to a security guard in a museum. 2,000-year-old mummy has been stolen.
So we have the new character, which is his partner, which is a guy, and all he does in the whole film is just not believe anything and just make jokes and quibs about, like, you know, so what you're saying to me? Yeah. Did you steal the mummy? No. Damn.
Yeah, you know, like, I nearly got you though,
I thought that would work. And so he's just his joker. Anyhow.
Yeah, so they're like, you know, so what you're telling me is a 2,000-year-old mummy has been stolen and nobody saw a thing.
Yeah.
And then we have a very similar quote to Night of the Creeps where he goes, 2,000-year-old mummies don't just get up and walk away.
And 2,000-year-old dead guys.
Yeah.
Dead guys don't get up and walk away. Hard cut to a 2,000-year-old mummy, dead guy, walking down the road.
Walking through the streets of suburbia as an ambulance drives by.
So this mummy looked cool, I thought.
It did look cool.
So now we have certified Dracula. There's a Frankenstein in a box. There's a werewolf man at the police station. There's just a mummy walking around. Why? Why did all this happen? Is it Dracula caused it? When he's saying, let it begin, is that him resurrecting his monster powers. The other reason is, why are they friends, all these monsters?
Well, they, later on, once they've, like, you know, done all their shit, they're going to do the mash.
Oh.
The monster mash.
That makes sense then. Okay, so they're all getting together for a dance.
Yes.
The mummy's walking along the road, and in the background we see an ambulance speeding past. I don't know why an ambulance would be speeding past with a dead guy in it. And here we have the corpse of the so-called werewolf man, which has been already shot.
Yeah. So we get this shot, the inside of an ambulance. The driver's got his headphones on, so he's not paying attention. He can't hear a thing. And we get this pan back through to the body. It's covered in a sheet, obviously, to indicate that he's dead, and there's just blood splats where the bullet wounds are.
No body bag.
No body bag. And all of a sudden, we start to see
see the full moon kind of through the window of the ambulance. Remember, there's a full moon.
And he starts to transform.
Got some okay transformation scenes.
It was pretty good. Like, you know,
we only kind of see his arm and
we
stuff.
get this, like, bubbling kind of happening under the sheet. We get, like, to see some stuff become...
His boots burst open with toes sticking out.
It's that very sort of fade to black, come back, fade to black, come back kind of deal.
Yeah. And that's over with.
And he attacks the driver. He's now a wolf, and he
attacked no man. He is no one's bitch.
No.
Anyhow, hard cut to Shawn. He's on the roof of his house on these, you know, because they have the stereotypical big American houses. He is sitting there. Now, this kid has the best life ever. Have you noticed? He has a tree house which would make other tree houses get the biggest soft-ons in the world.
Yes.
And then he's got his swinging dick tree house. And then he can sit on his roof. And right across the road from him is a drive-in cinema that he can just tune his radio in and watch the film and listen to the films. And I'm like, oh my God, this is the best dude.
So A, he's got cool t-shirts. B, he's into monsters. C, he's got a cool treehouse, and he can watch movies whenever he wants.
For free.
Fuck, this kid is the best.
I know. Yeah, he's out there. He still has to look through binoculars, but he still can see.
Yeah. He's watching the movie that he obviously wasn't allowed to go see with his friends.
And clearly not babysitting.
Yeah, he's still... Yeah.
Mother have not had him there. And the dad rocks up on the roof. He's bought burgers. He knew his son would be there.
Yep.
You know, they have a father and son kind of hanging out moment. They just... The kid gets the vibe that the dad's marriage is kind of, you know, it's a bit rocky, and the dad just wants to, you know, sit with his son for a while.
Yeah, because he doesn't want to go inside and talk to his wife. That's fair. Meanwhile, big weather starts rolling in again. And
we cut to the swamp / lagoon / reserve at the back of their place. We see Wolfman snuffling. He's just snuffling through the swamp.
He's like a little truffle pig.
Yeah, the truffle pig looking for truffles. Truffles.
And Dracula and the mummy are also there.
He's a truffle pig.
Yeah. They're also there, and they're searching for something.
Yeah, Dracula kind of rocks up and kind of like, you know, he kind of looms in front of him like, I'm your mate. You're my main man.
Yeah.
And then the mummy walks up as well and like, the gang's all here.
Yeah.
So now we got Dracula, Mummy, and Wolfman are all hanging out.
Yeah.
And then they go over to a lagoon, and then Dracula holds his hand or his stick up.
He holds his staff out, so it's got this like crazy thing on
ornate
the ends.
thing on the end.
And
he's got like, it's a walking stick. I'm like, you've never had that before. Doesn't matter.
It's fine.
He holds his stick out, and he basically Jedi mind tricks.
Yep.
Pulling up this bubbling in the lake, and we see, you know, raising up comes the crate that we saw earlier falling there. We can see, I don't know what it is. It's something of Frankenstein. Does it say property of Frankenstein?
Yeah, something like that.
Yes.
Frankenstein is written across it.
Yeah, and something else in there. So
And then suddenly, yay,
the box gets lifted out quite quickly, and we see its creature from the Black Lagoon. He's lift. I thought this guy looked wicked.
He looked fucking sick.
He's lifting up. So now it just so happens
convenient
that there is a creature of the Black Lagoon. So these kids obsessed with monsters. We're actually surrounded by the monsters.
Yeah.
This is I don't understand. Doesn't matter. It's for kids. It's just to bring all the universal monsters together.
Yes. So Gilman lifts it out of the water, and he basically throws it onto the
land,
the bank where the rest of the guys are, and that's it. We cut back to Shawn's house. Mum has brought in a candle for Phoebe. She's obviously having some trouble with the dark and the storm.
Don't we still do the next bit of that bit of the Dracula opening the box?
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah,
I missed a bit.
The box gets thrown onto the land, and then Dracula goes over to the box and opens it. I don't know how he opens it.
Yeah.
He just opens it, and we see inside of the box is Frankenstein's monster.
He looks good too.
Yeah, he was a very good-looking... I'm just going to call him Frankenstein.
That's what I referred to him the whole way through, yeah.
Frankie?
Frankie.
Because I think they call him Frank in the end anyway.
Yeah.
So he's in there. He's not awake or anything like that. And now the Dracula gets some jumper cables out of his cane.
Yeah.
Puts jumper cables onto Dracula's bolts.
Yeah.
Holds up his cane, and just like
waits.
The lightning comes and just wakes up Frankenstein.
Yep.
And he kind of wakes up. And then we get this really weird scene. So Frankenstein lifts his hand up, as in like, help me out.
Yep.
And then, but Dracula's got this like, like, my old friend, how are you going? And he kind of lifts his hand out to help him up. But then he freezes, and it's a zoom out shot. And it's like, what are those things called when they freeze and do a shot? Where the shot doesn't freeze, but the actors freeze in between theatre. Yep. It's like that freezes, so they're just about to grab their hands. They freeze. But then, like, Wolfman and Creature are still just moving around.
I like the Wolfman because he's just like, yeah, doing the best.
Yeah, they're like on a video game loop of a character just fight game, like just moving up and down. Yep. And I'm like, and then this goes for a while, and it's just like, dun, 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 there's some lightning going, and I'm like, the first thing I thought to myself was, why are they all hanging out? Why is this happening?
Why not?
And I realised later on it's because they actually think of themselves as monsters. And monsters are one thing.
Yeah.
It's like the time of monsters will be here.
Yeah, we're all buddies. What? We're all getting together. Everyone coming out.
Then it cuts to, after that dun-dun, it cuts to Phoebe being afraid in her bed. And Mum comes in, with a candle because all the lights have gone out or something. Yeah, because the lightning storm's knocked out the lights because, why not?
So she's scared of... the monsters. So she's like, but the storms bring monsters. And Mum's like, no, I've got a candle here. That candle's going to protect you from any monsters. And that's it.
That's it. It's a scene that means nothing.
Yeah.
It actually doesn't ever come back or have any relevance. Then we cut to Shawn, and he's spying on his parents. He can see that they're arguing over, marriage shit.
This is such a trope that pisses me off, though, because it's just like, okay, I've married a cop who has to leave at random times because people die and situations happen, but I'm going to be really mad about it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just something that... Just stop with that trope, please. Stop.
Yeah. Then we get... So Shawn's like, oh, fuck, my parents are arguing. I might as well go over and check the phone messages. So he walks over to the wall, and they've got like a whiteboard on the wall where they write messages. And there's one for Shawn. It's like, Shawn, Mr. Alucard, in brackets, from school, is interested in the Van Helsing doll. Possible... He wants to buy it. Yeah. And then he's like, Alucard. Sits down at the desk, gets his pen and paper out, and he's like, Alucard. Writes down Alucard, looks at it and goes, Alucard.
Yeah.
And he's like, starts to rearrange the letters.
Like anagrams and stuff.
Anagram. He's like, no, it's not right. And suddenly he's like, D-R-A-C-L-U-L-A.
It's Dracula.
Every person that would ever be into monsters knows that Dracula goes by Alucard.
Yeah.
Also, why did Dracula even use any name? Why do you say Smith?
Yeah. It's like, yup.
Anyhow, and he's like, so I'm like, kids film. Maybe as a kid, I might have actually even thought that scene was cool when I was younger, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's a reveal. It's a reveal that we want to see.
Then we cut to Eugene.
Yep.
Eugene's in bed. He's in his pajama jams.
Jammy jams.
And Eugene is like the kindergarten cop kid that says, girls have penises, boys have vaginas. Or other way around.
Yeah. I did that last time I had to say that. He's adorable. And he walks into his dad's room and he's like, oh, Dad, like, there's a monster in my closet.
Monster in my closet. No, he's like very...
And we get the typical dad that I fucking love this, because he comes in and he's just like, look, it's fine. He's like, oh no, look at all the monsters in here.
Get out of here.
Get out of here, monsters.
You, get out. You,
like,
get out.
oh,
No,
God.
you get out as well. Yeah, there you go. No more monsters. Can you see any more monsters? And the kid points
He's
at
points at the
closet.
cupboard. And the dad opens the door and he's like facing his kid. And he's
He doesn't even look in the closet. He just opens
monster, get out of the closet.
And there is actually, we see
the mummy.
The mummy is in the closet, but the dad just never looks in there. No. And so the kid is covering his eyes. And the mummy's there. You can see it out of focus, I don't know why it's in the closet.
No.
For the pure joke.
I was under the impression that this kid lived on the second story of his house as well, but that's fine.
Well, I thought every kid lived on the second story.
Yep. So the dad shuts the door and he's just go back to bed.
He goes you're not sleeping with us tonight.
You're not
go to bed.
And
then the kid looks at the dad and then looks back and we see the mummy's bandages kind of just leaving out the window to imply that the mummy has left. And the kid kind of puts his hands over his eyes again.
Yeah. So
end of joke scene.
Don't even.
It actually comes up later on. He says "Mummy in my closet."
Yeah.
Then we cut to the treehouse.
Yeah. So Shawn, he's called an emergency meeting of the newly found Monster Squad.
Which he has written on a blackboard. He writes the word Monster Squad. And what's the Monster Squad? We're the Monster Squad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He goes, what? And then all the other kids aren't really paying attention.
Shawn's really highly strung in this
and I think
scene.
Rudy might be still looking in his binoculars he's just been there the whole time. He never left. He's just been there wanking the whole time. He is red raw. His balls are empty.
There's lotion everywhere. Yeah. So Shawn talks about the book that his mum bought, and he's like, Dracula, he wants this book. I've got this book. What are we going to do? But I don't know how to read it because I don't speak German. Huh. Maybe we know someone in the town that does speak German.
But he also says there's monsters. He goes, I heard my dad talking, and he says there's a guy downtown who thinks he's a werewolf.
Yeah.
A mummy missing from the museum. Dracula's calling my house, leaving weird notes like a pedo. I'm sure there's monsters. And they're like, the kids are kind of dubious. They're like, and then one of them's like, oh my God, fat kid farted. And I really like that joke. And And they all go, fat kid farted. Yeah. And I actually remember being in year 7 and we thought that was heaps funny.
It is funny. Farts are funny. It doesn't matter if you are 5, 35, whatever, farts are funny.
Anyhow, they talk about we need someone to translate the thing. Patrick's cool guy, skateboard Patrick is like, my sister took German, and then she wouldn't know that much. And then Rudy's like, where do you live? And he's like, next door. And he goes, that's your sister? Yeah. So he's been perving on the dude's sister the whole time. And she's like the cheerleader babe kind of thing. She
very 80s, big hair. She's, big energy.
Big hair, big waistline, as in high pants, high knickers.
Yeah, that
high
whole...
undies.
Ugh, yuck.
Panties? What are they called for?
Panties.
Knickers are little kids.
Yeah, panties.
Panties, yeah.
Panties.
Good. That'll do.
Yeah, so we cut to an abandoned mansion. Dracula walking through.
What is this mansion?
I don't know. It's kind of like the Neibolt Street from It.
It's but it's for some reason it has the amulet hidden in it.
Yes.
So is it Van Helsing's old house?
I don't know. Because also that did not happen in America. That happened in
Transylvania or something weird they were. Yeah. Anyhow, there was a house. Dracula has acquired it. I'm sure he took out a loan, paid for the land. Anyhow, he is in this. Now they have a house.
Yeah.
The monsters are all living together. It's the monsters.
Yeah. It is the monsters. Yes. So Dracula, he pulls the handle on the statue and reveals a secret passageway leading down to some kind of crypt/dungeon. Yeah,
and he's got and then Frankenstein's down there. He's kind of in a chamber yet because
he's locked up.
Yeah, he hasn't quite got his bearings.
No. So he comes in and he sits down and he starts talking to Frankie about
my old friend. Yeah, he keeps on going about how much of a friend he is, but he's
wow.
Did they have a relationship or something?
Maybe. Who knows? He starts talking about the missing Van Helsing diary. He's like, the kids have it. The group of kids have it. If they don't, you need to go get it.
We need it.
We need this book. You need to go get it. If they don't comply, you
Smash 'em.
must kill them.
The end. Dun, dun, dun. So now Frankenstein is Frankie's on the job to find the diary, get the kids
Yep.
from the kids. We cut to the next day.
Yep.
It's daytime. Shawn, Fat Kid, and Patrick, they're outside the scary German guy's house, and they're like, this is our only. He's German.
Germans aren't great, apparently.
Yeah.
Well, they got a bad rap. So he's outside the house, and they're kind of talking. He's like, okay, well, you go knock on the door. No, you go knock on the door. And for some reason, the German guy is just right next to them.
No, he comes up behind him. He's done his shopping. He's
Yeah.
walking home, and he's like, hello, boy. No, that's what's German? How do you do a German accent?
I don't know.
Yeah, we have ways of making you talk. And yeah, I cannot do a German accent. I've lost it. Usually I would be able to.
No,
and the German
that's
guy's like, what are you boys doing?
That's like Peter Sellers doing German.
All right, I can't do it.
No, that's fine.
Uh,
So that's it. Cuts
yeah,
to,
hard cut is like dum dum dum. He's gonna kill them and then eat their organs.
pretty much. But we cut to now. We get this like absolutely amazing homage scene to Frankenstein. So little Phoebe is sitting there. She's picking petals off a flower.
Yeah,
And-
she's sitting like under the treehouse on the, and the treehouse I didn't realize at this point is on the edge. It hangs over a friggin' the lake.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Sure.
could the treehouse get any better? Like, not only the treehouse, it's built. It comes out over a bloody body of water. And I'm like, oh my god,
that's amazing. And so she's sitting there, and of course Frankenstein. We see him come up behind her.
You see the shadow.
Yep. Now
No, his boots.
in the original Frankenstein movie, they have like a very touching moment, and then he throws her in the lake.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he just doesn't understand.
Doesn't she just swim away?
No. She drowns.
Because she was a woman, and women aren't taught to swim.
Women don't know how to swim. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's it. It's kind
that's
of like we just see Phoebe kind of look up to him, and that's it. Like, what's happened?
Yeah, she's not really afraid.
His fist comes down and smashes into a million pieces. No, that doesn't happen.
We cut back to German house.
German house. He's got a big bloody carving knife.
It's like, last chance for pie.
Yeah. It's
They're
like
like,
he's like, you boys are in, like, this is it for you boys. And menacing, he goes, last chance for pie.
Yeah.
And, he's a nice German man.
He
Who would have
is.
thought?
Oh, no. So he starts dishing out
He's
some
feeding
more
them
pie.
pie with tranquilizer in it so they can rape them later.
Pretty much. So he sits down and he starts translating the book for the kids, and we get the stock standard, the forces of good and evil. Every 100 years they are balanced, and
Yeah, get the amulet.
There's
Balance the evil.
there's a talisman and that wards off evil and is absolutely indestructible except for the stroke of midnight every 100 years where it can be shattered.
Yeah, and so, but it all, so the baddies are looking for the amulet to shatter it, but the goodies are looking for the amulet to open the portal to get rid of the baddies.
Yes.
That's basically it, really.
Yeah,
And you
so-
have to do it at a certain time.
Yes, you have to do it at the strike of midnight.
Yeah.
So the ritual, there is also a ritual for the good guys. So, they've got to read from the book. They need a virgin.
A virgin has to read from the book, and then he goes, the last, I can't do my German accent.
No, that's okay.
He's like, the last, entry in the diary was tomorrow night, 100 years ago.
Oh!
So they got 1 day? Is it 1 day?
Yeah, they got like 24 hours.
But I'm sure there is 2 sequences of days in this like from now to the film. There's like 2 days and nights. Anyhow,
Yeah.
they're given 24 hours.
Yeah. So we cut to the squad are now devising a plan. Now they need a virgin. And they assume that it's going to be a piece of cake to find a
Or at
virgin.
first he's like, is this before they've left the house?
No, they haven't left the house yet.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Yep. So that's a very quick, it's going to be easy for us to find a virgin. Not a problem.
And then they're leaving like, man, Mr. German man, you sure know a lot about monsters, as they're leaving the door. And then he goes like, I suppose I do. And as he's closing the door, we see a fucking a prison camp tattoo.
Yeah, he's got
Is it a prison camp? Like Auschwitz or whatever?
Yeah, so he's got the tattoo on his arm.
So he was he was in the prison.
War.
Yeah, so he's not the bad German, is it?
No, he would have just been a very humble man.
A Jewish German?
He would have been Jewish, probably.
He did look Jewish. If people look Jewish.
Yes.
No?
Well, yeah.
He looked like a really, really old Seinfeld. Or he did look like Larry.
Larry David?
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyhow, yeah, so we're like, and I'm like, oh, heavy shit for a kid's film.
Yep.
PG-13.
No one would have picked up on that. No kid would have picked up on that.
I didn't pick up on that until now, and I've watched this film a million times as a kid. I didn't know what that meant. I thought it was like, a barcode for him being a monster hunter. Or I probably thought that he was part of Health Sing's gang.
Yeah. So we cut to Rudy. He's in a burger joint. He's sipping on his Coke and eating a burger.
Just by himself, just like this full diner vibe.
He's a greaser. He does things alone.
He does. He doesn't need friends.
No, he doesn't. He's too cool.
I'm surprised he doesn't hang out with other greasers, though.
Well,
He's the only one.
Maybe.
Oh, bloody hell. Paul Kelly could write a song about him. Anyhow, the gang come up to him and like, Rudy. He's like taking a sip of his milkshake.
Yeah.
Like, Rudy, do you know any virgins? And he's like...
Just like spits it out immediately.
And that's it. Hard cut out of that. Like...
Yep, hard cut. So they're back at the treehouse and Phoebe's there and she's like, hey guys. And they're like, no, fuck off. We don't want to play with you. You're a girl. Go away. She's like, but guys, I have to show you something.
Guys, look.
Guys. They all turn around and
Frankenstein walks out. From behind a tree, which is the tree that the treehouse is on.
They all basically shit their pants, run off and hide.
This is in the daytime, by the way.
Yeah.
Like midday.
Yeah. They hide like cowards.
I don't know what, Rudy. We're eating that shit for lunch.
Yeah.
Rudy's there as well. It's the whole game.
Like, Phoebe is best friends with him and she's like, come on, guys, don't be chicken shit.
Don't be chicken shit.
So Shawn obviously comes out. He's the first to come out and he starts talking to Frankenstein. And then...
He's like, oh, he's good. And the Frankenstein is good. He's not like making out to be friends with them. He's just like...
Well, he's not smart enough for that.
Yeah,
he's not smart enough for a ruse.
That's true. And then the little girl's like, now can I be in your monster club? Considering she's got a monster.
Yeah.
And I think she's in the club now, officially.
Yeah. Well, she came with a monster. She's the leader.
Yeah, because then it cuts to the gang... Everyone is in the treehouse.
Yep. So they're
even
up in the
Frankenstein.
clubhouse.
How did he climb up that rope ladder?
Don't even know.
And he's up there and he's like, he can say some words.
Yeah.
And he's like, bogus.
Yeah.
And she's like, I taught him some words. And like pretty much bogus is the best word. Like,
yes.
Bogus.
So yeah, they're talking about getting rid of him. Like, we've got to get rid of him. Like, why is he here? Why is he looking for us? Meanwhile, he's like now spying on the girl next door, but also Rudy's replaced it with a camera.
Yeah, Rudy's set up a buddy, like the perv weirdo he is. He set up a camera to photograph the girl, and so Frankenstein's looking at the camera, and he accidentally leans on the camera and takes a photo. And this is like this is the ultimate point where she's taken her top off or something like that, but we don't see it. And he's like, he gets scared by the camera and just yells at it. He's like, bogus, bogus, bogus. So he can only say bogus.
And then this is a pretty heartwarming moment. They grab a packet and they pull out this Frankenstein Halloween mask. And it's one of those very, very 80s Halloween masks.
Yeah, the ones with just the rubber band, the elastic goes on the back. Yeah, you got the mask and the plastic
smock.
molding.
Yep. And they hand it to him and he's just like...
He caresses his hand down it.
And he gets a little bit sad and he kind of throws it and he's like... Scary.
He's like, he touches his own face. He's like, scary.
Oh. Like, no, I just want to give you a hug.
Yeah, I was like, quite
sad.
heartfelt. Every kid's movie needs that crap though.
It's true. And then of course we get this really beautiful scene of them just all together walking off into the sunset.
It's like the whole gang. Phoebe's holding Frankenstein's hand. He's in the middle, and it's a silhouette to this beautiful orange sunset. They're walking over the street, and I was like. And there is the most ridiculous, stereotypical, heartwarming power music playing over the top of it. And I'm like, oh my God, is this? Am I going to cry? This is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And we cut to
Dracula's house again.
We're now back at the mansion, and Dracula and the Wolfman are kind of like, they kind of look like they're hunting for a cricket. So it's like, oh man, there's a cricket in the house. I can hear it. And they're like,
Frankenstein. Dracula can feel the presence of the ruby, and he's like walking around all like David Copperfield, like looking around the walls, like I can feel its presence or some shit.
And he kind of like, they stop for a second, and he's like,
it's on the other side of this wall.
This is it's right in here. And Dracula, he doesn't dynamite it. No, does he have something? He's got a hammer or something. He bashes through the wall.
He creates a little like crack in the wall, and we can look in there. We can see within this wall cavity is the amulet. Still just
and now
firing
it's
out
green.
lasers and stuff. It's a different color. They don't care what color it is. It is like the amulet of all amulets. So one day it's a ruby, then it's an amethyst, then it's an emerald.
It's a talisman. Who knows?
Who knows? It's a MacGuffin.
So they've found it. Shit's getting serious.
And then he's like, he kind of sees it in there, and then he looks back and he's like, yes. And he goes like, soon the creatures of the night will rule this world, and no one can stop us. And I was like, oh my God, how the Dracula's actor is the worst.
Yes, he is.
This guy,
but he's also
no
amazing.
one will stop us. Anyhow, as you know, no one can stop us. We get a hard cut to an 80s montage of like Shawn, waking up, and the montage starts on the alarm,
Yes. Oh yeah, this is the best. So at this point I feel that they were like, fuck, we're running out of time, but we need to set up this scene. What do we do? Montage.
Yeah, 80s synth music. And we get stuff I've written in a list here in different colours. We get the kids. They're riding bikes down the street all together, like doing fucking shit.
Yep. Rudy's making steaks in
shop
class. Phoebe's off playing with Frankie. They're having a great time.
Like, it cuts to Eugene writing a letter in crayon going, like, Dear Army guys, come quick. There are monsters. Eugene, and quick spelt wrong and all stuff like just in crayon. So Eugene's doing his part. He's writing crayon letters to the army.
Patrick, he's making up some Monster Squad business cards. So he's at like the local.
He's like the entrepreneur. I'm the 80s guy.
So we're doing this. He's bold-itis.
Rudy's making.
He's now melting silver.
He's casting silver and making silver bullets at school. Yep. And I'm not sure it's America.
Yep. Then we get this cutscene.
They're pointing at maps.
Yeah, they're pointing at maps. So Rudy's also at the archery field, and he stealthily steals some bow and arrow.
A compound bow. Rudy does most of the work here.
He really does.
Rudy also in this montage, Rudy picks up the photos, from like the 1 hour photo drop, and he's like looking through them, and then spits his drink out again. And because, obviously the nude shot.
He's found the nudie shot. Yep.
And he, holds it up to the light as if he's trying to look through her clothes.
This is the best montage.
And then it cuts to Frankenstein with the nude picture of the kid's sister wearing 80s Ray-Bans with holding up the nude picture with all the other kids jumping around him trying to get the picture.
Patrick included, which is strange because
it's his sister.
He's probably there going, guys, get away. It's my sister. Fuck off.
Yeah, I'm the only one that masturbates to her. It's my sister. Anyhow, that is done. And I'm like, okay, they're ready.
Yeah.
They're so ready.
They are gearing up.
And I'm sure because, when Dracula found... So we had 1 day after we saw the sunset. So Dracula finds, so it's a night. Maybe it is the right amount of time.
Yeah, I think it is.
Anyhow, cut back to Dracula's house.
Yeah, he's drugged up Wolfman, who has now turned back into his human self.
Yeah, so Wolfman is now human and he doesn't want to be there. So he has to tie him up in human form.
Yep. So he's tied him up to a chair, and that's the end of that chapter.
Yeah, that's all. It's just to show that he's a good guy when he's not the werewolf.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
And then he's just like, best go get something to eat now. And he goes off and unlocks a closet door to reveal 3 scared women. Again, very beautiful women in their white sort of dressing gowns. And he basically...
You can only assume that stole them from a lingerie party? Or like a modelling shoot, a lingerie shoot?
Yeah. So he basically... they're looking terrified. He walks in, closes the door. So he's going to seduce them
in the smallest room ever.
Yep. And then he's just going to feed on them, turn them into vampires. Whatnot.
Anyhow, Human Wolfman. Human Wolfman, he tries to escape.
Yes.
That's about it, really. We just see him kind of like, I'm going to escape.
Yeah. He's like, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go.
And then we cut now to the police station. We're back at the police station.
Yeah, and they're talking about at the crime scene, so at the ambulance where the Wolfman disappeared, there was actually a black hearse with a skull hood ornament at the scene of the crime, which sounds suspicious.
And then someone calls Detective Dad, and it's like, hey, there's a call for you. It's a werewolf. No. And it's a werewolf man. Yep. He's in a phone box, and he's like, you got to help me. The house at the end. You know, he doesn't really say where it is, but...
He's like, 666 Shadowbrook Road. You got to get over there. Shit's happening. I don't know what else
They're going to kill your son.
Yeah, he's sure. Well, that gets everyone's attention. At this point, the moon's out again, and he starts to transform. And now we get a really cool transformation from him. So it's not quite...
He's in the phone box still.
Yeah, so he does
It's not quite American Werewolf in London level, but we got to see the back.
Out there.
His back smashes out, and that starts to wolf out, and his face and all.
His fingers change, he's hairy, and then we do get the face change a little bit, which is fine. I'm still okay with this. And then he kind of runs off into the darkness.
Now, first he just bursts out of the phone box, just smashing the door really awkwardly. I thought that was funny.
Wolfman out. And he runs off into the darkness and he's howling at the moon.
Now, the kids have split up into a couple of teams. So the first team is Shawn, Eugene, Fat Kid, and Frankenstein.
Yes. Yeah.
The worst team?
Yeah. So
except for Shawn, everyone else is useless.
Squad plan: Shawn, they're in the swamp. Patrick and Rudy, they're gonna handle getting the virgin.
Yeah. So then, yeah. So then, and they're talking to each other. They've got walkie-talkies.
Yeah. Yeah. So at this point, they're sort of having this conversation. Rudy's distracted by the sister. She's like, "Oh,
yes." And now we're at the Patrick and Rudy. They're at the IHOP.
Yeah.
They're outside of the diner or whatever, sitting on a thing. And they're they're being awkward. Is this about where they ask if she's a virgin or not?
This isn't that bit yet.
Okay.
So they're just... I think this is where they're outside of the house.
Oh, it just shows that they're in two teams in this point. So we got the Patrick and Rudy trying to get the girl to agree, and then we've got Shawn and they're outside the house.
They're at the swamp.
Team Shawn, Team Rudy.
Yeah, because... Yeah, so at this point, he's talking, and I think one of the kids drops his Twinkie in the water.
Yeah, Eugene.
Yeah, Eugene
always
Twinkie.
cops it.
Poor Eugene.
Yeah.
And as he's about to reach in and grab it, fucking Gilman comes bursting out of the water.
Gilman creature.
Eugene freaks out. He heads back to Shawn and he's just like, creature stole my Twinkie.
Creature stole my Twinkie. Wolfman just does nothing.
No.
He just goes he just wanted the Twinkie.
Yeah.
Twinkie.
It's just, everyone likes a tasty cream-filled treat.
That's just the end, so little kid can just say funny lines, which is fine. Then we cut back to Rudy and Patrick, and now they're in the clubhouse with the sister.
Yep.
And doesn't have a name.
Hey, they're kind of awkwardly, Patrick's like, let me handle this.
They're building up to ask if she's a virgin.
Yeah, and Patrick's like, so I have to, are you a virgin? She's like, what? He's like, you're a virgin.
And then Rudy's like, have you ever been dorked?
Oh, classic.
Which is totally inappropriate for another kid's film. It's full just hassling her. And then to make it worse, they hold up the photos of her they've taken naked of her and blackmail her and bribe her. So not only have they taken naked photos of her, they use that as blackmail to bribe this girl into telling them whether she's a virgin.
Yep.
And then doing this ritual, or they're going to put it up on the notice board. Not the
notice board.
I know.
Where tens of people will see it.
Tens, at least. A handful. And so we can only assume from that scene that she has agreed to help them out.
Yeah.
Cut back to, the rest of the squad outside of Dracula's house. Mm-hmm. And they're like, let's go inside. So they decide that Frankie should stay with Phoebe out the front.
Yep.
Which makes sense.
Fat Kid's, he's just not keen. He doesn't want to go in.
Fat Kid, Patrick, and Shawn, they go inside.
Yep.
Fat Kid is very apprehensive. So he's
Yes.
like, come on, guys, we could just go home and, cross-wank.
Yeah, it's fine. Frankie gives a bit of a warning. He's just like, Drac is close.
Dracula, master close.
Yep. So he gives them a bit of warning, like, he doesn't want to go inside. He's really apprehensive about them going inside.
And at this point, it cuts to, like, Dracula, and he's, like, wiring up one of those bloody Wile E. Coyote Dracula push-down...
The Acme...
the lever, like, detonators.
Yeah.
And, like, and it does the exact thing it does in the cartoons. Like, he's wiring it up, he looks away, and the handle goes...
drops.
Falls down. And it blows up.
It blows up, so Frankie goes to walk into the house, and as... The floor
Phoebe
creaks
stays there
under his weight.
Phoebe and Eugene stay out the house. That's it.
So
the three of the kids first go into the house.
Yeah.
They're in like the hallway, and then Frankie follows behind. And then when the dynamite goes off, it shakes the house, and all the foundations fall down onto Frankenstein, smashing him and killing him.
Yep.
And we see his hand out, and they're like, "Fuck."
Yeah, and at this point, like, I kind of wanted to punch Shawn.
Because he's just like, fuck him.
Yeah, Fat Kid runs over and he's like, he might be hurt, like, he might be dead, we've got to get him. He's like, well, then he would have died helping us. Like, we can't help him. Fuck that guy.
No, but he also says, like, he died to help us.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want to not do it.
I still wanted to punch him in the face.
Yeah. Anyhow, out of nowhere, Wolfman jumps out.
Oh.
This is a bit, and they're like, so Wolfman's in between, like, Shawn and Fat Kid.
Yeah.
Is Patrick there?
Patrick is not there. Patrick is with his sister and Rudy.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I said it wrong. Yeah, man, I'm getting my teams mixed up.
No, that's fine. So Wolfman jumps out and he's cornered off Fat Kid and like...
Fat Kid's like, what do I do? What do I do?
And Shawn's there going, he's like, kick him in the nards, kick him in the nards, kick him in the nards. And then all of a sudden...
Wolfman doesn't have nards. He's like, do it.
Yep.
And so Fat Kid runs out and power kicks.
Yeah.
Wolfman straight in the dick, and he's just like, and he's like, Wolfman's got nards.
Yes.
And that's one of the signature lines of this film. Wolfman's
Definitely.
got nards.
Yeah.
Nards? I never called them nards as a kid.
No, I don't know where it even comes from, but it's fine. I'm
Full
okay with
knackers him, though. We
Yes.
call them knackers.
Knackers.
Knackers. He knackers Wolfman.
Yep. So at this point, they've like run past. They're now running through the house.
They run deeper in there.
They're screaming. They're carrying on. They run to one side of a hallway.
They
and
go a T-junction. So they go, like, one end's got Wolfman
because there's a
knackered.
T-junction. Yeah.
Then they run down one of the ways, and there's the Brides of Dracula. They're like, oh.
Yeah. It's like sirens calling.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's Dracula.
And then Dracula, so they're like trapped in this T-junction.
Yep. So,
with like all the monsters, walking like, slowly. As slower than anyone could walk ever in anyone's life. They're slowly, honing in on them.
Yeah.
And then they're like, Shawn's like fucking around on the wall, and there's a statue there.
it's
Another
the
statue, different one.
yeah.
And they're like, there's got to be a secret lever here. And of course, he pulls the statue's hand, and a trapdoor opens from under them, and they fall down.
Yep.
Into who knows where.
Yep. And we hard cut to Phil's diner. It's a hip happening place. It's very sort of 1950s style diner, which isn't surprising because the 80s had a big 50s resurgence. That's where the greaser thing came from. So Patrick and Rudy, they're there. They're trying to reach Shawn. They're having a real hard time of it.
And the sister.
Yep. So she's there as well.
Oh, yeah, trying to reach them on the walkie-talkie, and they're not answering because they've obviously fallen down a hole.
Yes. And
it seems like the gang was supposed to meet them there first before they went in, so Shawn totally fucked this plan up, eh?
Wow.
They had that big montage as well.
I know. You would have thought after a montage you'd know what the plan
Shawn is a bit one-minded, isn't he?
He is. So we cut right back to the crypt. Again, there are skulls everywhere.
We cut back to the gang. So they've fallen down, and the trapdoor is down into where the explosion was.
Yes.
So, they're all covered in dust and that, and like getting up, and they're like, "Oh man, we're okay."
Yep. So Shawn, he spies the amulet, and he's like, "Oh."
Yeah, because the wall's blowing out at this time.
Yeah.
But Dracula obviously didn't have time to walk in there.
No, well, he does walk quite slow, as we've discovered.
Yeah.
So Shawn reaches in, he grabs the amulet.
He fully does like an Indiana Jones, like grabbing, like there's like both hands on both sides of it, like there's a big moment.
And as he comes out of the hole in the wall, Drac gets him. got him by the throat. He's just like, give me the fucking amulet. Like, I will
Do you have
fuck
to
you
give...
up.
he can't have the amulet? You have to have it given to him?
Like,
why
Dracula
didn't he
isn't a powerful being. Shawn's a child. I would have just been like, broken arm, bam.
I just would have killed him.
It's mine now,
He
bitch.
could have killed him. He had him by the throat. Like, kill him. Anyhow, fat kid's got an idea. He gets a bit of pizza out of his pocket, which is wrapped in alfoil, and smashes it into bloody Dracula's face because it's got heaps of garlic on it.
Garlicky. He starts to burn. He drops Shawn, and they can escape. Convenience.
Yeah, I thought that bit was great.
That was
but
great. And then
it was
pulls
still
off and you
just that
see-
scene was just made like.
Like, how are they going to get them out of this scene? Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
they had nothing else on them. Like, it was the perfect scene.
Yeah, like I said, Dracula just does the worst ideas. Like, Dracula's the weakest character in this film for being the most powerful. He's also the stupidest.
Yeah, you're not bright.
The gang ran upstairs and suddenly they're out in the forest. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
They ran up some stairs and then hard cut to them running in a forest.
Yep.
I'm like, okay, so they obviously ran out of the house.
So Phoebe meets up with them with scary German guy and his Jeep.
In a Jeep.
With all of
Open top Jeep.
So everyone else rocks up as well. So Patrick, the sister, and Rudy,
So
they're
now
there. The gang's all
everyone's together. Scary German guys there. Everyone is all in this fucking Jeep.
Yep. So Shawn shows off the amulet and he's like, we need to go to a place with a lot of people. So let's go to a church. Because, sure.
Yeah, because he says, like, let's go to a church. Monsters hate religious stuff.
Yep.
True.
Well, it's not. He's not wrong.
So they decide to go to the church, which is in Town Square.
Yeah.
Which is building up to, like, one of my favourite ending scenes. This is a great ending.
So we cut to cops. They're off to investigate the Wolfman call. And the partner, he's just making jokes. He's having a right old laugh.
Because the dad is still a bit weirded out because he says he's going to kill your son. So, yeah, they rock up to... Is it the house?
I'm not sure where they're off to.
Yeah, I think they're going to check out the house.
Yeah,
the
they're going to
666
check
drive.
out the mansion, yes.
Yeah, because that guy said, we might as well check it out. I'm Detective Dad. I need to.
I'm doing it. And the kids are like, fuck.
And then it cuts back to everyone driving in the Jeep.
Yeah.
Together.
The kids are like, shit, it's 20 minutes to midnight. If we pull this off, I'm going to shit.
Is that what they say?
That's what he says.
If we pull this off, I'm going to shit. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, doesn't the mummy just pop up?
Yeah, just for no absolute reason at all. The mummy is on the road.
No, it's attached to the Jeep somehow.
No, it's on the road. It's just standing in the middle of the road, and then all of a sudden it they hit it.
Yeah, they kind of swerve around it, and then we kind of see the mummy like kind of grab onto the car and go, "Whoa!" Like get pulled onto the back of the car.
Yes.
Yeah, it jumps onto the back somehow, even though it can't. Anyhow, it's now like crawling up the back of the car. It's grabbing Phoebe's in the back. Everyone's like, ah! What's going on? Everyone yells. There's a lot of yelling in this bit.
There is a lot of yelling. But this is really cool because we also get this really good shot of its face. So basically what they can see from the front seat of the car.
A POV
it
shot.
just looks real good. So yeah, they're there and they're like, we need to get it off somehow. So we have the beautiful the good doggo, little Pete. He's there. He gets he grabs some of the bandages.
Gives it to Patrick.
Yep.
Patrick hands it to Rudy. Rudy ties it to an arrow.
Yes.
And then uses his compound bow, which he stole earlier, to fire the arrow out into a tree. Mm-hmm. And then we're like, yeah. And this is I love this bit as a kid.
This is a great scene. So as you know, obviously as goes on,
becomes toit.
He
gets very toit.
He starts to unspool.
Yeah, and he says the leg and it looks cool because there's all bones and dust and everything in there.
It looks
and then we get to see
good.
the mummy's face like,
Yeah.
what?
And then we get this final like shot of it. This skull.
Yeah, like he just
doinking
finally falls
across
off
the road.
Rolling
And
skull.
Rudy turns around. He's like, "See you later, Band-Aid breath."
Nice.
The one line.
Band-Aid breath. He says it full out with so much emphasis.
So we'll cut back to the cops. They're still on their way to the mansion.
Detective Dad and not taking it seriously partner.
Yep. So they're speed demoning their way down, and just as they're coming around the bend, as too is Dracula's hearse. Comes speeding towards them. They somehow play a game of chicken.
Yeah, well, Dracula just decides to drive at them.
'Cause
And
he's
they're
a
like,
terrible driver.
whoa, there's a car coming towards us. And what happens, though?
Well, rather than swerving off in either direction, they drive right through it.
Dracula's car somehow, for some reason, turns into ghost car.
Uh-huh.
What are all these powers that he's got?
I don't know.
And it drives, it wafts through the police car. And they all stop and they're all like,
They're just like shitting their pants.
what the shit,
Yeah.
Dix? Oh, don't you see that? They're just sitting there all stunned.
Yep.
Detective Dad probably starting to realise something is going on.
There's something right here.
And of course, they saw that it was the hearse as well with the skull or hood ornament. And now, this scene is next scene is the one that makes no sense. Dracula rocks up to Shawn's house with a stick of dynamite.
Yes.
He goes out the back and he blows up the treehouse. And I'm like, who seems a bit immature?
But I love this because he literally walks out into the... So the mum's upstairs, she's putting clothes away. He walks out into the backyard, has this lit dynamite, hoiks it through the window, turns around and goes, meeting adjourned, just as it explodes.
Meeting adjourned?
Because I think he just assumed that they're all up there in their clubhouse having a conversation.
Oh, is that why he did it?
Yeah, he's like not absolutely malicious enough to think
I thought he was just being a dickhead and just like retaliating like a little kid bully would. Oh, fuck up your treehouse then.
You fuck up my treehouse.
Remember,
I fuck
like
up
in
your
like
treehouse.
Thrashing when they burned the local the local guy's ramp.
Yep.
I thought it was just that kind of dick move.
No. I'm pretty certain he's there to kill them, but he is also an idiot, so I don't know.
Anyhow, the mum was like, "What the fuck was that?"
Yeah.
Anyhow, Detective Dad.
He rocks up.
He rocks up out the front because he's tracked the car.
Yep.
He rocks up, it speeds in, stops in the street, gets out the car. Dracula's walking out on the front lawn at this point. He's like, holds a gun at him. He's like, freeze. Dickhead officer cop man stays in the car to watch. I don't know why he didn't get out.
He's not doing his job.
And now Dracula's like, ha 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 ha. He unloads, like a...
He just lights a little firecrackery type piece of dynamite.
Yeah, Dracula lights up another dynamite. He throws it under the police car, and our poor partner can't get out, doesn't know how to use the door.
No.
He's like, doors, how do they work?
What?
Child locks on.
Crazy.
He blows up, and I'm like, ooh, death.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that dude didn't deserve to die.
He didn't, but he died. He died in a fiery car crash.
An inferno.
Yeah.
Anyhow, the Detective Dad just gets up and fires his whole round into Dracula, which does nothing. And at this point as well, the mum has walked out the front door, so she can see all this shit going on. And then Dracula's like, I have your son. And I'm like, I thought you just blew him up.
Yeah.
He didn't even have his son at that time. So that's why I thought that he didn't think they were in there. I think he just came to dick move and blow up their treehouse.
That's just mean.
Yeah.
That is mean.
Well, he probably saw how good it was.
Yeah, probably. He was jealous. He's like, well, clearly this treehouse is better than my crypt.
And this is one of those great moments in kids' movies when you suddenly, the adult realizes the kids are right.
Yeah.
And I like that that's in this film. Yeah. And Jack in front of them turns into a bat and flies away. And the mum's like, what the fuck?
She's like, I was upstairs smoking crack this whole time. What the fuck?
Yeah. What? Fucking what?
Yeah,
anyhow, Dad...
she starts freaking out though. She's like, so she's just starting to see all this carnage, which is like an everyday thing for the dad. And he kind of just fobs her off. He's just like, nah. Runs into the house, picks up one of the other walkie-talkies that he's got there.
He knows the kids use walkie-talkies.
Tunes it into whatever station Shawn's transmitting from. And he's just like...
Shawn. He's like, what?
He's like, what?
He goes, where are you? He's like, I'm at Town Square.
Yep.
And then we cut back to the gang.
Yep.
At Town Square.
And they are squatting up.
And they're like... So they're out the front of the church and they're like, oh, I can't believe the church is shut in the middle of the night.
At like 11:45 at night. Sure.
So they can't get in the church and they're like, we'll just have to do the ritual here in Town Square.
Yep.
And they're like, cool. And then all of a sudden we see, this is when everything starts to like just go crazy.
Yeah. We
see 3 brides of Dracula walking down, the girls that were before that we saw in the cupboard.
Yep.
They've now been transformed into Brides of Dracula.
Yep.
I guess
And they are moving ever so slowly towards them.
They had their hands up walking like, they have wind hitting them from nowhere to blow their dresses. But they're still like all vampiric.
Vampiric. Yep. So,
But then we get the sister, like the German guy, German guy, Patrick and Phoebe, they stay behind near the church and they start to try and start the ritual. So the German guy's kind of translating for her, you know, telling her what to say. She's kind of like half-assed saying it. She's a dickhead.
Yep. Rudy, however, he nuts up and he goes off to deal with the brides like an absolute badass.
Yeah, he badasses his whole way through this.
He really does. So he just out and out shoots one of them in the chest with his bow.
His compound bow. He fires a stake at them through a compound bow.
Yep. Why not?
And I'm like, and then like they're like, whoa, like, you know, like all the other kids, like Rudy's taking charge.
Yeah, he's getting shit done. She obviously, he must have missed her heart or something. She attacks him and he's...
I know. First, they're like, when Rudy's walking up to them, he like kind of storms out and they're like, Rudy, what are you doing? He goes, I'm in the goddamn club, ain't I? And
yes.
I'm like, sickest
Like,
line.
fuck yeah, Rudy.
That was a great line. Like, I really loved it. That was cool as fuck.
Yep.
There's so many good lines. Anyhow,
yeah, so he's like, now he's fighting with one of the...
he's trying to reload his bow. He can't get in time. One of them gets up close and starts like kind of grabbing him.
Yep.
And but then he just blatantly stabs it, doesn't he?
Yeah, just stakes her in the chest. And
stakes her in the chest. So Rudy's like really taking care of business.
Yeah, he's done this before, clearly. Meanwhile, we get a glimpse of Bat Drac. He's flying close by. He's on his way. He's going to come and cause some havoc soon enough.
Yeah, he's flying around. You can see town square under him. Little puppet tooting along.
Cop Dad rocks up and he basically... So he rocks up. Does he shoot Bat Drac?
Yeah. So Bat Drac's coming down.
Yeah.
Detective Dad screeches around the corner. He's leaning out the side of the car with his revolver.
Yep.
He somehow shoots Dracula in bat mode with a fucking gun while driving a car.
Yes.
Dracula's like little bat goes, fuck, and gets like, kind of flies through the air and flies into the window of a second story of like some shops or some shit. Yes. We don't know what it is. And then,
yeah, because Cop Dad skids up, gets out of the car, breaks into the place.
He's weaponed with sticks of dynamite.
Yes. So he breaks into this storeroom.
He's following to go get Dracula. He breaks into the place.
And he finds a half-transformed Drac. He's obviously been shot.
It's like half bat, half form, man on the ground going...
Yeah, it kind of looks really cool. He's got like this little bat pot belly. And I'm like, oh, fat bat.
Fat bat.
It's great.
He's half formed. So he's bleeding everywhere, but it won't hurt him because he's just kind of like getting his shit together.
Yeah, he's like, where do you get a load of me?
He lights the stick of dynamite, and he says a cool line. I can't remember what it was. I didn't write it down.
No, that's all right. And then Wolfman jumps out, attacks him, and
Wolfman comes up from behind, like in the room, and they start just fighting.
Yeah,
punch ups.
Yep. Because Wolfman could just maul him to death in a second, but no, they just have a bit
start
of
like fisticuffs, and then Wolfman knocks down Detective Dad, but then we see behind Wolfman, same trick. Shawn has come up with a baseball bat, and he's like, "Hey asshole!" And Wolfman looks around and goes, "You looked."
Yeah.
And he
clubs him.
Baseball bats Wolfman in the face, and he's like, "Oh fuck, my nose, my precious snout."
My snoot.
And then that gives Dad the opportunity. He gets up, he grabs the stick of dynamite, which is just about to go off. He shoves it in Wolfman's pants.
Yep.
And then shoves Wolfman out of the window.
Yep.
And as Wolfman is falling, this is the greatest. I remember this as a kid. Pausing this so many times. Wolfman explodes. And it's not just like you see an explosion. You actually see a corpse blow up to bits.
Yes.
And I love this bit.
This looks so good.
He blows up, and yeah.
So then
just remember Wolfman. He's all, and I think we cut to a shot straight away, don't we?
Yeah, we do. We cut to a shot straight away. It's just all of these pieces of him
on the ground.
We pan over all of these different pieces.
Like a full Evil Dead pan over, dismembered shot, like arms, legs, guts, torso. There's like the top half of him, and he's like.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh man, this is so sick.
And his fingers start moving, which indicates to us that he might not be dead despite being in hundreds of pieces.
Then we cut back to the sister. She's still trying to read the bloody ritual. She's like goofing it up. And then like, finally she gets to the end. She does it. She finishes. They're like, yeah, you did it. You did it. And then like, kind of nothing's happening. Patrick's like, isn't there supposed to be like some sort of like, oh no, that's it. They kind of just, they're happy.
Yeah, nothing happens.
Then we cut back to Wolfman.
Yeah, so we just get this like shot of like his body kind of just moving back together.
It's like sliding along the ground.
It's like coming back together, and then all of a sudden he's Wolfman again.
It's like super quick. They all start sliding quicker and quicker, and then he's like howling at the moon.
Yep.
And then also his clothes somehow get back together.
Yeah.
Because you can't have naked Wolfman.
No, we cannot.
That's not
his
kosher.
His dork would be hanging around.
You don't want wolf dork. We know that he's got it out there. He can probably lick him.
Probably.
Right? I wouldn't be surprised.
So backup arrives. And
Wolfman runs out into the kind of the square. So he's down on ground level now.
Yeah, so the backups arrived and, you know...
Yeah, a bunch of cops rock up now.
Yeah.
This town has an army of police.
It does.
This is a very small town, but they have at least 80 policemen on call. I call them the cannon fodder police.
Yeah.
Like these are no name, no face, like just policemen.
Yep.
Um,
So meanwhile, nothing has happened. No vortexes opened up. Nothing's going on.
First the cops come in though, and they start shooting at Wolfman.
Yeah.
But he just shrugs it off.
Yes.
He's like, I don't give a fuck.
It's whatever.
Not anymore. Even though like they shot him last time and it hurt him, but yeah. And then we cut back to Patrick and the sister, and they're still celebrating, but then they're like, hang on.
Yeah, Patrick's there, and he's just like, he's got his hands on his hips, and he's like, are you sure you're a virgin?
Of course I am.
She's like, of course I am, except for like...
Well, Steve didn't count.
It's like, what do you mean it didn't count?
Didn't count. Like that, the full Seinfeld moment. Like, Steve, poor Steve. He didn't even count. He didn't. He may have sex with you, but you're still a virgin. That's how much he doesn't count.
Yeah.
And she's not a virgin.
It's just the tip.
Bloody Steve.
Yeah.
Who we don't know whoever Steve is.
No, we don't.
And now we cut back to Wolfman.
Yep, back up. They're taking him on.
They've given up on guns, so they're just running in and trying to punch him.
One at a time. They're like, "Huh, we're gonna get you." One of the cops obviously drops a gun. Rudy snags it, and he starts loading it with his silver bullets that he made in shop
Rudy.
glass. Yeah.
Without Rudy, they would have been fucked.
Oh, they would have been fucked. So he loads it in, and then he points the gun at Wolfman. Obviously,
unloads a round into him.
A couple of rounds in him, and we see this final moment. Wolfman is now human again, and
the blood looks like dying.
He's laying there, and he's just like, "Thank you,
thank you,"
and he just dies. That's it.
And then Shawn and Detective Dad just walk over. They're like, "We're cool with this.
That's fine. It's just another day at the office."
And then out of nowhere, Creature, Black Lagoon, bursts out of a manhole.
Yeah.
And then
he starts crushing skulls.
Yeah, but cannon fodder cops just come in and they start just trying to punch up Creature. Why didn't they shoot him? Because he's not bulletproof.
He's not bulletproof. Yep. So he's taking them on. So we cut back to a moment where they're talking about, well, we failed. Like this is it. We don't have a virgin, and this scene kind of made me a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, Eugene goes, well, is she... he doesn't say virgin. He says, like, version?
Yeah.
He goes, is she a virgin? And, like, points to Phoebe. And I'm like, well... Yeah,
like, yes, she is.
Yeah, well, they're lucky they didn't get into that church earlier. That might not have been an option.
Yep. So they've established that Phoebe is a virgin and she is... we could probably get her to read the book.
She's 5 years old. Let's hope she's a virgin.
Yeah, because they're like, she's 5. She doesn't know how to read.
So then basically, old German guy's like, he goes, can't read. I will help her. And yeah, cut back to the Creature. He's still fighting some cops off. And then we see Fat Kid. He's in the street. He goes up to a dead corpse of a cop. And he's kind of like pulling a shotgun off of him.
Yeah.
I'm like, shotguns? Ooh, this is the thing where kids just wouldn't use guns in kids' films. Like, Rudy's already Magnum shot, man. Showing that you can make your own bullets at class and stuff.
Rudy's seen
This is a different time when this film was made.
Oh, very much so. So he's got the shotgun now.
Yeah, and in fact, he's like, but he doesn't know really how to use it or anything. He runs to a shop to try and get into this newsagent, and it's locked. And we can see within the newsagent are the bullies from the start. Kevin Arnold's brother.
And he's like, let me in?
Open the door. They're like, no way, man, I'm too scared.
Yep.
Anyway.
So he won't let them in. Meanwhile, the
The creature draws closer to Fat Kid.
He gets closer. He turns around. He shoots the creature. Bam.
With
dead.
the shotgun. Yeah. Creature. Dead.
Sad.
One shot. Dead. Anyone could have done that. Cops could have shot him.
Yep.
Maybe they should have started with trying to shoot the creature instead of fighting it hand-to-hand combat.
Maybe.
Doesn't matter how proficient you are in hand-to-hand combat, you're already going to lose to the creature.
It's true.
And the bullies come out of the shop.
Yep.
And they're like, whoa, hey, Fat Kid, thanks.
Good job.
And then Fat Kid looks around, cracks the shotgun.
Yeah.
What is it? Reloads the shotgun.
He cocks the gun.
Cocks the shotgun and goes, my name is Horace. And I was like, best moment.
Epic.
Oh, man, it's such a good... As a little kid, you dream of like doing shit like that.
Yeah.
I remember dreaming of doing shit like that. It's
Yeah.
like...
100%.
I said, this is a kid's film.
Yes.
But it's still like, got enough gore in it to make it a great horror film.
Yeah, definitely.
And then we cut back to Phoebe. She's reading the ritual with the help of German guy. You know, he's saying it, she's copying it.
And it's the most adorable thing ever, once again, because she's adorable.
And then Dracula shows up.
Of course he does.
And for some reason now he's covered in electricity because he has no consistency in his character whatsoever. If he could like produce electricity, why didn't he just electrify Shawn when he had him, hold of him? Why didn't he do heaps of
Why
things?
didn't he electrify Frankie?
He didn't want to burn a spell slot. He can only do a couple of like moves a day. Once.
He like rolled for,
He needs a long rest.
Yeah.
After that shit.
So yeah, he's arrived. Phoebe, she's looking a little bit scared. She's looking scared.
But German guys like this. If we can
don't
say
look
this,
at her.
don't look at him.
Don't look at him. Just
And
keep
no-
going.
And
You
then
gotta
we
keep
get
going.
like Dracula doing his stereotypical patented slowest walk in history
Uh-huh.
towards them, and then we have a whole bunch of his cops running in, and he's taking them out one by one. They're all trying to punch Dracula.
Yeah, they're all trying to just like one up, and he's just like meh, bam, nah, one by one. He just kind of like bitch slaps them down. He doesn't even care.
And old mate German.
Yep.
Man,
he gets up.
he kind of stands up, and he's still translating the thing to Phoebe, but he's looking at Dracula. And for some reason now, Dracula has some sort of power Kamehameha beam that he fires at the German guy and takes him out. What is that trick? Why didn't he just shoot?
He's
the
Super
kid?
Saiyan now. It's fine.
So now he can
Yep.
Anyhow, he knocks the German down.
He's gone. Done.
Is he dead?
He's not dead.
He just kind of like stunned Kamehameha.
Yeah. Yeah. So Drac gets to Phoebe, and he basically lifts her up by her chubby little cheeks.
Her face. Yeah, he picks her up, and then he uses the line from Aliens. He goes,
like,
"Give me that amulet, you bitch!"
Yeah. And the mum's screaming in the background. Meanwhile, I'm like,
oh yeah, the mum's there now.
yeah, she's just arrived.
Mum's there. Every character in the whole film is in this scene. So just imagine that everyone is there.
And at this moment...
So he's about to I don't know why he couldn't just bloody kill her.
I know. She's 5. Just
electrify her with your electric beams or whatever. Anyhow,
he's
just about to fuck up Phoebe's day. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden from behind him comes Frankenstein.
Oh my God. He comes up. He comes up and he grabs Drac. He turns
he drops
around.
Phoebe and she's saved. He picks him up, turns around face to face and just goes, bogus.
And throws him.
He lobs him. He overarm lobs that cunt.
Yep. And he ends up impaled on like the church fence.
Yeah,
which
like
is
a metal
just
spiked fence, which doesn't kill him because it has to be a wooden stake
So-
through the heart. But he's impaled on the fence. You see it go all the way through. I still love this bit as well.
Yeah.
It's just kind of just like, it's just taking him out of action for a little while. Mm-hmm. And then Phoebe comes up and holds Frankenstein's hand. And then German Man comes up and she kind of like holds Frankenstein's hand, looks him in the eyes and uses that as her like her inspiration or to make her brave, and they finish the ritual together.
Yep. So they get through the end of the ritual. They throw the
ruby.
amulet.
The ruby starts shaking.
Yep.
German guy throws it into the air, and the portal opens up. Oh shit!
Yep.
Shit starts getting sucked in. There's a big sucking, vacuum cleaning hole in the sky.
That's right. We get this shot. Dracula is gone. He's no longer impaled. But he has grabbed Shawn, and they are getting sucked towards the vortex. They're having
just
a bit
kind
of
of like
tussle.
wrestling.
Yeah, it's weird.
Once again, Dracula could have used his repertoire of like things. I guess Dracula is dead now. He knows he's going to be sucked in, so he's just going to try and take Shawn with him.
Well, that's the thing,
Everyone else grabs stuff, like fences and posts and things and hides behind stuff so they don't get sucked in.
Yep. You know, as Shawn and Drac are being,
Dragged
dragged
towards
along
the
the
portal.
ground, Shawn sees a stake.
It's one of Rudy's like stakes.
Yeah, he grabs it and he
stabs Dracula.
Stabs him.
Which should have killed him.
It should have killed him.
Anyhow, it doesn't matter.
Because
from out of the portal comes Van Helsing's ghost, grabs Dracula in a headlock, looks at Shawn and gives him a thumbs up.
Yeah.
As he gets sucked into the portal, and I'm like, fucking amazing. How good's getting Van Helsing, milady Shawn.
Yeah, he's like...
tips his hat.
And it's that very, he's got the big old smile. He's got the thumbs up. He's like, yeah.
Yeah, you did what I couldn't. Thanks, bro. But unfortunately, this portal sucks in all monsters. So Frankenstein, he starts getting pulled into the portal. And Phoebe's like, don't go, Frankenstein. I love you.
Oh, my God. It's such a sad moment. And, as he's like...
And Frankenstein does it aggressively. He kind of starts getting sucked in and he's flying up into the air very slowly going like... What does he say something? He's like...
I think he does say something. I didn't catch it. But he says... The whole moment is like, oh my God, I'm going to have...
Phoebe throws her little stuffed doll to him and he grabs it and hugs it and he's going like, goodbye. It's very sad. I had tears in my eyes. Yeah.
I'm having an emotion right now.
I'm welling up now just thinking about it. I really am.
The vortex. The vortex closes.
It's done.
And Phoebe's left alone and crying.
Yeah, it's pretty full on. She's just by herself.
Oh my God, it's so sad.
And then the mum runs up and grabs Phoebe.
Yeah. So everyone else is getting up. They're dusting themselves off. So the mum's got Phoebe. The dad comes over. Shawn comes over. They all have like a family hug.
Yeah, they have a family hug. I'm like, that's how you do it. That's how you fix a broken marriage.
That's how you family.
That's how you family. You send a bloody bunch of monsters to another parallel dimension where they're taken away forever. I don't know why more couples therapists don't employ this method.
I think it's the best method.
It seems to work in every 80s film I've seen. Like, the parents are put themselves in a life-threatening situation. They want to have sex. It's the thing that gets me hot and heavy. So why wouldn't I get them?
That's right.
And from down the street, after it's all done, a bunch of army tanks roll in. And this is the best joke.
Yep.
And like a whole bunch of army jeeps, they all roll in, they come in, they get out, and then this big colonel gets out of one of the army jeeps and goes, okay, someone tell me where the monsters are. Yeah. And so you apply that, obviously Eugene's crayon letter worked.
Yep.
And then he's like, this is the point where there's a shot where like the whole cast are all getting together, shoulder to shoulder in this like one last scene.
Yeah, Rudy stuck his arm around the sister. He's trying to get in on it.
And then like Shawn's like, well, who could help me here? And he's like, we can, sir. He goes, who the hell are you guys? He hands him the business card and goes, we're the Monster Squad. And then cut into the 80s music and credits roll and everyone's just like, and the credits are over like, the montage of everyone just like hugging and cheering and the army guys cleaning up and stuff like that.
Done. And it's not just an 80s song. It is the Monster Squad rap.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. As the credits roll. Oh, my God.
The Monster Squad rap. It's amazing. Done. Anyhow, final thoughts, Jen, on this gargantuan of a kid's film.
This is so much fun. Like, I'm a huge fan of the Universal Monsters. So I think that this is a very good way to have brought them into, I'm going to say the future because it was the 80s. And it just sort of is a good opportunity to introduce horror to a whole generation of kids. Not just Universal Monsters, but just horror in general.
That's what I thought. I thought this was a great stepping point for all those kids who want to, the kids who went into the video shops and would stare at the tapes because they couldn't watch them. This was one they could watch.
Yeah.
And it had everything in it that a horror movie does, just toned down. I mean, it had dismembered, bloody blowing up werewolves and stuff. Yeah. It had kids making weapons. It had kids firing shotguns into beasts and blowing them. Like, for a horror movie fan, this was fucking gold for kids who weren't allowed to watch horror movies yet. And as I said, in primary school, me and my friends loved this film. Like, we wish we had a Monster Club. It was basically like the horror version of Goonies.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. It's funny because there was actually, I think in 1976, there was a TV series called The Monster Squad.
Which has nothing to do with this?
This has nothing to do with this, but it's a very similar concept where a bunch of wax museum monsters would come to life and try and solve like crimes or something. Anyway. But yeah, I mean, the creature effects on this are amazing. Obviously, Stan Winston had his hand in it and he's done some amazing things in his career. So everything looked really good. Like, the fucking creature looked amazing.
Creature's eyes looked really good. They look like actual fish eyes, like that gelatin, like, looking gross eye.
So good.
And they didn't move, which made it kind of funny.
Even better. You know, and I think automatically any movie that has its own theme song, especially a rap theme song, is just automatically like 10 times better.
Winning.
Yeah. Like the Addams Family rap. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, anyhow, the turtle rap.
Yes.
Heroes on the half shell, they're on a mission.
Oh,
is that one? No.
Vanilla Ice.
No, this wasn't
Not the
Vanilla Ice.
turtle
Vanilla
rap?
Ice is number 2. That's like, go ninja, go ninja, which I play in my shop fairly often.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, as I said, there were so many cool moments for kids, like the shotgun bit, everything Rudy says, like so many moments that you're waiting for as a kid to happen, and they're wicked. Well, I found Goonies and that great film, great adventure film, but there wasn't enough cool moments.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and obviously this is a very homage to Goonies. Frankenstein played the role of like, what's the other guy? What's that big guy in the Goonies called? Like,
Sloth.
hey, you guys.
No, Chunk.
Yeah, no.
Wait,
Chuck,
Sloth.
Yeah, Sloth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Right? But putting that horror movie, spin on it, such a good... If you have children who like love horror, this is perfect. You can watch it with them. It's awesome. What'd you give it?
Well, I definitely gave it a big old D. It's a Dan special.
I did
for
that,
sure.
yeah. I gave it a D for a Dan special.
This is also definitely a beer and chicken wing
That's
film.
what I gave it as well. That's
there you
weird.
go.
Yeah, because we've watched, even though we're adults, watching this film, it's still fucking cool.
Yeah.
Because it makes you feel like a kid watching it.
Yeah.
And it's not dumbed down in the bit where, because it's got that 80s things, there's like, you can see some Transformers in the background. So it's got all that nostalgia hits for us. So maybe it wouldn't. No, it would work for kids because the kids will get out of it what they want. And we get out of it being the adults that grew up through the 80s, seeing all that cool shit.
It was like those moments, so like where the scary German guy's closing the door, like we wouldn't have picked up as kids that that's what it meant, but watching certain things, it's kind of like when you watch The Simpsons as a kid, you didn't understand why your parents were laughing. It's like, why are you laughing at that joke? But as you get older and you understand things, you're like, oh,
I was never a kid when The Simpsons came out. I was in like high school.
Yeah, okay, well, you've not had that joy then.
Anyhow, what are we watching next week? Please make it be Slumbo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to watch Slumber Party Massacre 2. So this was a film that I had watched last year for the very first time, and I loved it so much that it quickly became one of my favorite films.
I haven't seen it. I've only seen like 1 second of it, when he starts singing for no reason.
This is some gloriousness. So we shall be watching that next week. Oh,
Excellent.
I cannot wait. Cool. Thanks, guys. You've been listening to TerrorVision Horror Podcast with Dan and Jennifer. We are available on all major podcasting services and also on the YouTube. But no matter where you choose to consume us, please make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment or a review, and share with all your friends. We also have an Instagram at TerrorVision Pod, which will keep you up to date with upcoming episodes, trivia, and of course memes that are definitely 3 years old by now. We also have an email, terrorvisionpod@gmail.com. Let us know what you want us to watch or discuss. Anything along those lines. Our opening and closing music is Void Swell by Sister Wife.
And you can catch me at Greenlight Comics in the city of South Australia, Adelaide. Come down there, 18 Stevens Place. We have like comics and stuff. We also have an online store, so you can buy everything online. And so just check out greenlightcomics.com and check out our store if you want to buy comics and have them sent to your face.
I hear that you guys are having a bit of a website upgrade as well.
We are at the moment. Oh, yeah, actually, yeah.
Having a makeover.
Having a makeover. So we actually don't have a web store at the moment because it's getting rejiggered. I have seen it. It looks very nice. Braden's working on that hard and fast, as millennials do. Mm-hmm. But remember, until next week, may all your dreams
be nightmares.